Excellent. Let's work on lab 4. Add more lights. In this lab, you'll add more lights to your lighting rig. The goals for the lesson are to add a backlight, texture the backlight's lighting, add an overhead light, and add ambient lights. Backlights. A backlight is a light placed behind an object to create a highlight around the object's edges. You'll use the backlight to highlight the edges of an object and to light the backdrop at the back of the stage. You'll use a Hemi lamp as the backlight. A Hemi lamp is designed to look like the light from a cloudy sky, bright and broad. Its direction is more important than where it is. You'll add the backlight lamp on the next page. But first, a quiz. Which of these things does a backlight do? Does it highlight the edges of an object? Does it provide the main lighting for the scene? Does it shine straight down from above? Does it make other lights dimmer? Or does it light the backdrop? Oh, hopefully you remember it highlighted the edges of an object because it comes from behind. Let's read about the Hemi lamp really quick here in the Blender manual. Under docs.blender.org, I just searched Hemi lamp. Okay, the Hemi lamp provides light from the direction of a 180-degree hemisphere, designed to simulate the light coming from very wide and far away light source like a heavily clouded or otherwise uniform sky. In other words, it is a light which is shed uniformly by a glowing dome surrounding the scene. Similar to the sun lamp, the Hemi's location is unimportant, while its orientation is key. The Hemi lamp is presented with 4 arcs, visualizing the orientation of the hemispherical dome and a dashed line representing the direction in which the maximum energy is radiated the inside of the hemisphere. So I'm assuming that's the line that they're talking about. Perfect. You've got energy and color. These settings are common. And then you have layer, negative, specular, diffuse. They control what the lamp affects as described in what light affects if you want to read more. The Hemi lamp has no light fall off settings. It always uses a constant attenuation, that is no attenuation. And since the lamp is the only lamp which cannot cast any shadow, the shadow panel is absent. Great. So Hemis don't make shadows. Just like on a cloudy day, if you go outside, you'll notice that you don't have shadows. Interesting. So what do you think we need to do to add a Hemi lamp? Well, hopefully you're thinking along the lines of going to add, right? Add a lamp and add specifically a Hemi lamp. Good. You can do it there. And then also remember, if you click on that plus, you can also create a Hemi lamp right here in the tool box. But I'm just going to slide that over for now because I don't need it. So here's my lovely Hemi, and we're going to name it. So let's see, what do we want to call this? How about lamp backlight? Does that work? Under item, lamp backlight, and hit enter. Perfect. And then let's change our X, Y, and Z values real quick. Let's see, we're going to change them to, the X will be 0, enter. The Y will be 4, enter. And the Z will be 4, enter. The rotation X value will be -65 degrees. Enter. Okay, so you can see you've got that line coming down indicating that this is where the light is going to be hitting from up above. And you can just, I believe, leave the Y and Z values at 0. Okay, now let's go ahead and adjust the data on that lamp. So making sure that it is selected down here at the bottom of the properties. Make sure data is selected. Mine automatically was. And we're just going to set the energy to 0.5, enter, and then let's grab a kind of a red color. It's going to be down here in this area. So the red, they want us to set to 0.9, the green 0.3, and the blue 0.3. Okay, and there we go. Now we have a nice little red hue. Textured lamps. Like objects, lamps can be given textures. Textures applied to a lamp can affect the brightness and color of different parts of a lamp's light. You'll add a texture to the backlight lamp. Okay, so now we're going to add texture to this lamp. So the texture button is down here in the properties, so just click on that. And you'll have to scroll a little bit. I just use my scroll bar and it will bring me down to the add. You can also remember you should be able to grab this and slide it up a little bit so that you can see the whole thing. Click new, and under you'll have to, this is kind of tough. You scroll down a little bit more and then you get your type and click on that drop down box. I'm just going to click clouds. I'm going to keep this really simple. I recommend the same thing. I'm not going to play around too much. I'm going to click clouds, and over here you can see the texture of it. If you want to make any adjustments to it, you've got you know, options over here that you can play with. I'm not going to. I just want to kind of get through this part. I'm going to click on the lamp button and then scroll all the way over to the right where you have this influence. If you're using properties and it's like a vertical, then you're just going to scroll all the way to the bottom rather than the right, depending on which area you're using. And then you're just going to click here, and they want you to just pick a black color. So if you just click down here at the bottom of that little slider, that'll just automatically make it pretty black for you, and then you can hit enter and you're good to go. I'm gonna just quickly scroll in here for a minute, and then I'm gonna switch this over. Oops, wrong box. I'm gonna switch this over to rendered and just kind of take a look at how it's going to look. Now, it's going to take a long time for that to render. So if you have the patience, you can wait for it to see how it's going to look, or you can just continue to move on with me. Okay, let's add an overhead lamp. So I'm going to, now that I've seen how it rendered and I can see a little bit of the texture that light has created, I'm going to switch back, to my solid view. And I'm going to scroll back so I can see all my lighting. I just like to see the whole thing. And I'm going to add a lamp, and this is going to be another Hemi. So add another Hemi lamp, and we're going to name this one down under item lamp overhead. Okay, and then hit enter. Lamp overhead. Okay, let's set the location X, Y, and Z. So X will be 0. Y will be 0. Z will be 5. And then your X, Y, and Z rotation values, just keep them at 0. Okay, now go down to your properties buttons and click on the data button. You'll set the energy to 0.2, and then let's change your RGB. So click on RGB if it didn't, for some reason mine was on hex. Change it to RGB if you need to, and then the R value, the red, is going to be 0.7. 0.7. Your G value is going to be 0.9. and your blue value will be 0.9. Good job. And it wants us to make sure that our specular button is on. Ambient light is the natural light in a location that isn't directly created by a person. One of the things that make lighting complicated is the way light bounces off things. Blender only calculates light moving in a single direction. You can simulate the natural way light bounces off things by adding more lamps. You'll add ambient lights to simulate the effect of light bouncing off the faces of an audience and back at the stage. Let's take a look at the Blender manual for point. The point lamp is an omnidirectional point of light. That is a point radiating the same amount of light in all directions. It's visualized by a plain circled dot. Being a point light source, the direction of the light hitting an object's surface is determined by the line joining the lamp and the point on the surface of the object itself. It can be used as simple model of a light, for example, a light bulb. Light intensity energy decays based on, among other variables, distance from the point lamp to the object. In other words, surfaces that are further away are rendered darker. Lamp options. Let's see here. The point light source can only cast ray traced shadows. It shares with other lamp types the common shadow options described in Shadow panel. The ray traced shadow setting of this lamp are shared with other lamps and are described in ray trace properties if you want to read more. So this will create shadows. And so let's go ahead and add a point lamp. So add lamp point. Perfect. And let's name it under item, lamp ambient L for left. Lamp ambient L. And let's set the location of the lamp. So your X value will be -1. Your Y value will be -3.6. Your Z value will be 1. And you don't have to worry about rotation. Those values will be 0. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make sure that in properties, we're in the data tab. You will set the energy to 0.1 and you will make sure specular is checked. Okay, so we're going to duplicate that lamp and it's already selected, but I just wanted to show you that over here, you could select it over here as well. So you could go back and select anything by right clicking on it over here. So like if you wanted to select, whoops, actually you're just going to left click when you use this. So you could select your fill left lamp, your fill right lamp. We're on our left ambient light and we are going to duplicate that. Do you remember the shortcut for duplicate? It was Alt D as in duplicate, or you can just click on Object, Duplicate Linked. Perfect. And then, ooh, now that you have your object, I'm not sure what's going on here. I might not have mine selected. I don't think I do. My computer is going a little bit wonky, so I'm going to make sure that it's selected. For some reason, I thought you could right click on, select, you can. Okay, so when you're using this menu over here and you right click on the object, you have to use the drop down menu, okay, to select. I'm going to hit A to make sure that I only have one light selected. Let's see. A. Okay, now I'm going back to my ambient, and selecting it. Perfect. Okay, so you can right click on these and then use the drop down menu. Perfect. I'm just going to see if it has duplicate on there. No, it doesn't. Okay, so object duplicate linked, or you could have hit that shortcut Alt D. All right, and then remember it sticks to your cursor and you just need to click somewhere and drop it. And once it's dropped, let's name it first. So scroll down to where it says item, and we're gonna just name that lamp ambient right. So change the L to an R and hit enter. Perfect. Then let's change the location setting. So your X setting, instead of being -1, is going to be +1 so that it's on the right. Your Y is going to be at -3.6. Mine is, so I don't have to change that. But if it's not, change it to -3.6. And your Z should be at 1. And I didn't have to change my Z either. Your X, Y, and Z rotation values are still 0. Good job. And you can see that if you scroll in, you can see that you've got an ambient on the left and an ambient on the right. Good job. All right, good job. If you want to take a look at this in rendered mode, you can just change your setting to rendered view, and it will take a while. But feel free to do that. And then let's go ahead and save. Yay, we're done with Lab 4. File, save as. And you're going to change this to version 4 for Lab 4 and hit enter twice. Perfect. It will show that you've changed your file name up here at the top. Excellent. So in this lab, you added a backlight, you textured the backlight's lighting, you added an overhead light, and you added ambient lights. Good job.